Okay, so I'm gonna start creating more videos, and I won't actually make videos regarding what is in the news, right? So because you know, if you guys have been following crypto for more than a day, you'll know that the crypto market as well as the stock market, they're kind of separate. Basically, I'll show you guys some comparisons later on, but basically, whatever news generates for the stock market, you have investors all over the world, or so I would say more of like United States, but more all over the world that will invest now into that company and then take that news, invest for the day. So you have day traders, you have your swing traders, or people that invest for a couple hours, or sorry, for a couple days in one stock. Then you have your long-term hedge funds, and you got your you got your investors, you got people like that who basically you give them your money or they take money and then they invest for a long period of time. They're not expecting you to take your money out. But on the crypto side, you don't really have that. So you just kind of have a bunch of people, right? So either I'm following the coin or I'm not. Either I'm following the news or I'm not. And it's more people not following it than are. And there's less people in this market that are actually doing the same thing as the stock market than there are that are actually just holding. And you have more people that just buy because someone told them to buy. A day or two later, they lose a dollar or 85 cents, and then they sell it and they feel like they were gypped, right? So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you guys little signs of reasons to buy and hold something. And I kind of feel like if you can give it, I say 6 months to a year. So my goal is 3 months profit, maybe 6 months, obviously continued profit, a year, 2 years, right? So our goal is to figure out where we might be 2 years from now. I don't think 2 years now, it's a very long time. So I want to just point out a couple things, right? So when it comes to like Bitcoin or whatever, you look at like the last year, it's been up and down. I was told personally, 100 days into the year, you'll see a swing in the market where basically Bitcoin will be around, around 2,500, maybe 3,000 minimum, right? Or max. And it never made it that far down. It always went to like 3,500, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I never actually bought in. Plus, it swung up within like 90 something days. So I kind of missed the curve. But needless to say, it actually happened, right? So we're here. I don't remember exactly how many days until 100 days into the year, or whatever, but let's just say 100th day of the year, right? 100th day of the year. So there's other factors that April 10th, right? So I was told April 10th. So we'll just use that as an example. And we'll see here April 11th is right here. So you notice a couple days before April 11th, April right here, April 2nd, it started to go up. So 90 something days in, right? So it's actually pretty accurate. Our goal, again, my goal is just to give you guys information and just pass it along, right? So yeah, so Bitcoin isn't going to go back down, right? I was told like 8,500. Bitcoin is probably going to see nice little spike from there. So we see nice little spike from about 7,500 to about 80 something. So we're at like 9 grand. So for me personally, I would say I'm not telling anybody what to do with their money, so don't invest because of it. But what I'll just do is I'll just spread the news on what my feelings are about when I hear it. So another thing you guys got to look at, for myself personally, what I had to look at was basically here, right? So we need to look at the all-time high. So this is kind of where Bitcoin is looking to meet, right? So a lot of people are going to have a different number depending on which markets you want to use. But 20,000, almost 20,100 was about the all-time high. And then we have our all-time low. It's $65. That's just from when it started to trade onto actual exchanges. So yeah, $65. So obviously it would never go back down there. But let's just look at the last year. So the last year, right now, where we're at now, around this month, this time, 52 high. So in the past year, the low it's ever gone is 3,100. So again, I wasn't able to catch that because my goal was 2,500 to 3,000. And again, it never really hit that. So, and then in the last 90 days, last 3 months, which remember we're talking about April, about 4,000 and 9,400. So it's a good time to just say that we're in the upswing of things, right? So again, the goal is to try to just figure out where is it going, right? So let's just say Bitcoin goes 5x, right, in the next 6 months, which is it's plausible, right? So we're not going to say it's definitely going to happen, but let's just say it goes to like say 40,000, right, in the next 5 6 months. That would be nice, but if I were to put $500 in 6 months, it turns to 2,500. Is that something that me personally, is that something that I can say, you know what, I'm satisfied with that, right? So you have to kind of look at that in a whole, right? So if you were to take an amount of money, let's just say you put $10 in, and that $10 turns into $50, but it took a year, is that okay with you, right? So you have to take into consideration how long it may take. So back in 2017, everything was a week, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks. And then you would buy and then hope that within 1 week, 2 weeks, or even a month, you would have 5, 10, maybe even 25x your money, right? So that's kind of how the market works. But now you kind of got to be safe, because if you were to do that, you were doing that with IPOs, and with you buying into an IPO at $100 and you're going to 25x, that would have been great. But you also ran a risk of the IPO or ICO, I'm sorry, ICO never coming out, right? So if the ICO doesn't come out, then you have no money to show for that $100 that you put in. So you kind of got to be very careful when it comes to ICOs. Be very careful when it comes to investing, because those things do happen. So again, so I just wanted to just kind of say that, just looking at that, that's obviously the trend. So the trend is that it's going to go up, right? And so that's the trend, right? So then our goal is to kind of look at the news and try to figure out what is everyone saying, right? So what is it that, because there's hidden messages in the news, right? So you kind of want to see like, what is it that people are saying? So right here you have FOMO triggered at 10,000. So the news is that 10,000 is the goal, 15,000 is the, or sorry, I'm sorry, 15,000 is the goal, 10,000 is the target, right? So everyone's saying that once it hits 10,000 resistance, then it's going to go past 10,000 to 15,000. So I'm not going to pull up analytical charts, because I'm not going to, because all that stuff doesn't matter unless you're day trading. So we don't need to analyze every detail of everything. We just need to analyze what people are saying. The reason why is because 90% of the people, I would probably say 90%, I probably could be wrong, it could be 80%, somewhere between 80 and 90% of all crypto traders are not actually reading analytical charts, nor are they trying to figure out any of this stuff. You need to figure out, when are people buying, right? So people are buying, you got to figure out when are people holding, and we have to figure out when people are selling, because you want to be a part of all of it, in the beginning of all of it. So you want to be in the beginning of the buying period, because if you buy in the beginning, you're buying low, right? In the holding period, so you want to be one of the people that hold the longest, and then you want to make sure that you're at the beginner of people that are selling. The reason why you want to be the beginning of the sellers, because that's when it's going to start going down, right? So here we are, someone, someone saying that they're very bullish. Again, the person doesn't really matter. You can look them up if you want. But to me, Tom Lee, I've seen his name 1,000 times. Just the person on the news does not matter. You just need to figure out who's saying it. Go follow, see his following. You'll notice that a bunch of people are doing everything he says, right? So 10,000 says, all right, BTC to reach between 20,000 and 40,000. So this is what we're talking about, right? So if it's 5x at 8,000 to 5x or 4,500, then this news is very accurate, right? But then you have to click on it and you have to figure out, okay, are they saying that it's going to 5x in the next 6 months? Are they saying it's going to 5x in the next year or whatever? So Tom Lee is the guy that's all over CNBC most of the time talking about crypto, right? So you want to kind of see like, okay, when they say it's going to 5x, because people are quick to jump in, but they're quick to jump out. So you have to be very, very, very careful with that. So he believes that it will, it's heading towards 20, even 40,000. Okay, so let's just put this in perspective for you really quick, right? He believes that Bitcoin will hit 10,000. Then there will be no stopping Bitcoin for heading towards 20 or even 40,000. Okay, so right, so he's right 100%, because if you analyze what he's saying, then you'll notice that what he's saying isn't anything different than what everybody else is saying, right? So 10,000, so it's right now it will hit 20,000, 10,000. That's what he's saying. Once it hits 10,000, it will be headed towards 20,000. If it just goes to 10,200 and then 10,300, it is already heading toward 20,000. It's actually heading towards a million if you look at it in those terms. So what he's saying is accurate because no matter what, as long as it's going up and never hits zero, it's always headed towards that direction, right? So again, he's not saying anything that no one else is saying. So that's why stuff like this isn't like great news or fake news. It's just news, right? So you just gotta just take that information as in who is going to receive that information. So the fact that he's someone that people view on CNBC or people view on these other money television shows or networks, people will buy because of that. So people follow him, they'll buy. People that don't follow him or people that know his name will buy, right? So you're going to be in the beginning of the buying stage. So again, 8,000 or whatever. I had posted something and it said I posted something at $8,600 saying right now is the perfect time to buy. I put it on like I put it out there for a few people and just say like perfect time. And right now we're above 9,000. So I didn't lie, right? I didn't put on my social networking, but anyway. Okay, so here's another coin that a lot of people were talking about is ADA. I'll talk about that in a different video. We have other cryptocurrencies, but again, we have people just kind of just bringing it up. You know, this is what hurts the market the most is these scammers. When people are scammed, what happens is that money comes off the market. For one, the IRS most likely will use it to lure out more FBI as well. Will use it to lure out more cryptocurrency scams. So they're able to track people. So this money right here will make sure that more scammers are caught, but at the same time, they'll also sell the cryptocurrency to fund whatever it is that they're funding. So it kills the market a little bit because these big amounts of money all leave the market at one time. So they may take 50% of it and then send it off to be sold. And now that, 6,000, 5,000, whatever, $5 million of cryptocurrency just now takes off the market. So it kind of sucks a little bit because that kind of hurts a little bit. But in any event, that does hurt. So we have other news, but again, just kind of look at the news for what it is, right? So here's another thing that people are looking at and trying to figure out. Is this something that they should be worried about or try to get into or whatever? Don't really worry about the Libra coin or whatever. Just kind of look at it as in, was it 2 billion people on Facebook now are being exposed to cryptocurrency. Out of those 2 billion people, I would probably say 1 billion will buy cryptocurrency because of this news. So half of them, right? Because the other half are going to be older or already buying, right? So I would say that's a new amount of people that now are exposed to cryptocurrency as well as Bitcoin. So just this news alone, even if the coin never comes out, if the coin is like, Facebook decided against it because the IRS or the FBI decided to make their life a lot harder, although they're really trying to get into the blockchain network, right? So if it becomes really much of a hassle for them, then yeah, it may hurt the market. But at the same time, though, this is just to say that there will be a spike because of Facebook's news everywhere. Everyone's talking about Facebook. So again, don't look at the news as in, okay, this is the next best thing. Just look at it more of, this is exposure for what we're trying to do. And that's pretty much it, right? So don't buy into the actual news itself. Look more into what is the news providing you. I know this video may only get like 500 views. I'm trying to be more consistent. So, but at the end of the day, though, I want you guys to kind of look at it as in, what am I reading? What am I seeing? Who's being exposed to this news? And what does that mean? And the more people being exposed to the news, the better, obviously. But at the same time, is it worth me putting my money behind it? And that's kind of how I look at all this stuff. And what I'll do is I'll start to kind of put out there when is a good time for me to buy. And I'm not telling someone else to buy, but there's always a good time for people to buy and a bad time for people to buy. So I think that right now, because of the exposure and the dominance of Bitcoin, I personally should hold some Bitcoins. If someone else thinks that they should personally hold some Bitcoins, that's on that person. But right now will probably be the best time to buy Bitcoin because the possibilities of it going 5x from where it's at now is very high. So that's pretty much it. I guess I'll look for you guys to comment at the bottom more than liking the video. I don't really care about likes. I don't really care about views and that stuff. Just people that have understanding of what I'm talking about. So if you guys can like, you know, or comment down below, just kind of let me know, like, is there anything else that I'm missing, something that I need to be talking about. I'll go back into talking about HYIPs because I know people are trying to figure out more about those as they get into the market. So I'll go back into talking about HYIPs. I'll go back into talking about other new coins and stuff like that. So, but this is just the first video I've done in a long time. I just wanted to just kind of put this out there. So, all right, if you guys have any questions, again, comment below.